Welcome, everyone. Good morning to those who are gathered here in the sanctuary and to all who are joining online today. We begin this morning with a musical prelude by Scott DeVoe. Thank you, Scott. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Charlottesville. My name is Tori Goodlow. My pronouns are she, her, and I am pleased to be leading worship this morning with Reverend Susan Carlson and music director Scott DeVoe. This sanctuary was built over 70 years ago on the homeland of the Monacan people and was once cared for by enslaved people from Africa and their descendants. We honor all who've dwelt here and all in our congregation whose lives led to this moment of our gathering. I invite us to take a moment to greet others. Those online may unmute, and those here in the sanctuary or social hall are welcome to greet your neighbors, especially those you may not know. We offer a special welcome to newcomers and invite you to join us after the service in the social hall. Please feel free to take one of our red coffee mugs, and please join us at the newcomers table, which will have a red tablecloth. And UUCville members and friends are reminded to offer a warm welcome to anyone with a red coffee mug or sitting at the newcomer table. There is a live stream of the service in the social hall, and while everyone is welcome here in the sanctuary, the social hall can be a good option if you need a roomier space. Many thanks to all the folks helping us share worship, both here and online, our greeters, ushers, hospitality, and altar decorating teams, and special thanks to our AV Tech team led by Rachel Buckland. And now we have greetings from board member Bev Ryan.
Good morning. Hey, my name's Bev Ryan. My pronouns are she and her. I'm currently serving as a vice president on the board of trustees. This will be my last year, completing 4 years as vice president. So, we have 2 new board members, and probably you've heard, but Carol Gardner is our new president, and Jimmy Gorham is our new treasurer. So we're very excited to have them, and we'll be spending some time orienting them during the summer. There was something else I wanted to say that was really important. Oh, just remember, as board members, we are there for you. We're not there to sit in our little board and make decisions. We're there for you. And if you have any questions you want just to ask simple things, find us in the social hall after church or email us at board@uucville.com. Thank you. Charlottesville. It's board at charlottesville.com. You use charlottesville.com. .org.
Here are this morning's announcements. Our ASP group of youth and adults left this morning for Jonesville, Virginia, where they will be renovating homes in the community for the week. Thank you to the many people from our congregation who supported this effort. We wish them a joyful and meaningful week and look forward to hearing from them when they return. Our congregation's religious education program for children and youth relies on non-parents who serve as part of a team working with our children on Sunday mornings. We particularly need volunteers in our Spirit Play class, 5-year-olds through 1st grade, and our 5th and 6th grade group. If you're interested in learning more and possibly volunteering, please get in touch with Reverend Leah. The Charlottesville Clergy Collective will hold another Moral Monday interfaith gathering this Monday, July 7th from 12:30 to 1 at the Freedom of Speech Wall on the Downtown Mall. Moral Monday was started by Bishop Barber and the Poor People's Campaign to respond to injustices happening in our communities that impact especially those living with poverty and low incomes.
This morning, we reflect on 2 readings that use the similar imagery of a turtle to comment on the times that they lived in or that they live in now. As you can imagine, they have a similar outlook between them using that kind of imagery, but they also have vastly different perspectives. We'll be hearing a little later the 21st century Unitarian Universalist writer and preacher, the Reverend Kate Lohr, her approach of the turtle as a reflection of a collective instinct and a yearning. You'll hear that reading a little bit later on. Our call to worship is from the 19th century transcendentalist Henry David Thoreau's journal, dated August 28, 1856. It leans towards a little more individualistic perspective. So we'll begin reading from that excerpt. Consider the turtle. Perchance you have worried, despaired of the world, meditated the end of life, and all things seem rushing to destruction.
But nature has steadily and serenely advanced with the turtle's pace. The young turtle spends its infancy within its shell. It gets experience and learns the way of the world through that wall.
While it rests warily on the edge of its hole, rash schemes are undertaken by man and fail. French empires rise or fall, but the turtle is developed only so fast.
What's a summer? Time for a turtle's egg to hatch. So is the turtle developed, fitted to endure, for he outlives 20 French dynasties.
One turtle knows several Napoleons. They have no worries, have no cares. Yet has not the great world existed for them as much as for you?
I now invite Frank and Linda Dukes to light our flaming chalice. Will you please join in saying our chalice lighting words? We gather this hour as people of faith with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning in celebration of the life we share together. And now we will do the hand motions. We light this chalice to celebrate Unitarian Universalism. This is a church of open minds. This is a church of helping hands. This is a church of loving hearts. Please stand or stay seated as we sing hymn number 66, When the Summer Sun is Shining. We are an interconnected community that cares for one another. Part of how we embody this care is by making time each week to share the joys and sorrows we hold in our hearts. I will now share what was submitted earlier this week. In honor of all of our joys and sorrows, everyone is invited to come forward as you wish and place a glass stone in a communal bowl of water as a symbolic act of each being held by the larger love that holds us all. All are welcome to participate, including those who are new to our congregation. Those online may type their joys and sorrows into the chat. We have 2 baskets holding glass stones, one at the back of the sanctuary and the other near the front pews. Please take a stone or stones from whichever basket is closest to you. When you have your stone, feel free to come down the center or side aisles and make your way to the bowl of water on the table in front of the chancel. No need to form a line. Simply come forward as you are so moved. There is plenty of room for more than one person at a time to drop their stone in the bowl at the same time. Meg Dunham from the pastoral care team will come forward to help hold the space. Meg will be available for a few minutes after the service in the back corner of the sanctuary if you are in need of support or just want someone to listen. Those online can contact the pastoral care team at pastoral@ucharlottesville.org. Let us begin. This community offers its love and support to what is closest to our hearts. Another way we show our care for one another is in sharing our financial gifts with our community and our congregation. Our social action collection for the month of July is for City of Promise, and here to tell us about City of Promise is City of Promise's Executive Director, Price Thomas. Welcome, Price.
You want this one? That one? Does it matter? Which one? This one? Which one's the big one? Walk is a generous term for what I do these days, but yeah. Wow. Hi, okay, you can relax. Thank you guys for having me. I think this is my third stint here. And for those of you who I haven't met, my name is Price. I'm the Executive Director of City of Promise. For those of you who I have met, I'll spare you the long spiel. The short version is I grew up here. I went to the city schools. I graduated from Albemarle. Went out and about, and there we go. Go Patriots. Thank you very much. We did, went out and about. I came back here. I married the girl I went to homecoming with in 2002, and 10 years and 2 kids later, here we are. I know, I just had to get through that quickly. I will slow down. That was just the preamble goes a little quickly. But what really the more important stuff is about City of Promise. And so the work of City of Promise and where we have evolved to today is viewing education as a social issue. And I say that as the son of 2 educators and how we often think of education as a school-based enterprise, right? We send our kids into school and they send them back to us with all of the things that make them tick. And what we know, and certainly what we've learned over the past couple of years, is that it is an interconnected school issue that is affected by all of the social dynamics that all of us are affected with. This is based on 2 really large-scale statistics that we've leaned into. The first being that your kids actually spend about 80% of their waking hours outside of school. So from the time they're 5 to the time they're 18, so from kindergarten to high school graduation, they spend about 81% of their time out of school. So where's that time spent, right? It's spent at home, it's spent in the neighborhood, it's spent at the pool, it's spent at the extracurriculars they have access to, all of those wonderful places and spaces, right? The second statistic is that your household income and your literacy rate are directly correlated, right? And so what we're having a conversation about is really this tripartite partnership between community, school, and home, right? How are these areas resourced? How do they fit together? And across all these dimensions that we talk about, housing and food and transportation and access to the internet, how do they interact in order to create and support our youth and their educational attainment, right? A school is really just a mosaic of what goes into it, right? That mosaic of what goes into the school is largely resource dependent, right? I have seen both the city schools where I grew up and in Northern Albemarle where I live now. The difference between Trailblazer Elementary and Baker Butler Elementary is largely the difference between West Haven 10th and Page and Forest Lakes North. That's really the conversation that we're having about education, right? And I'm living this now, right? My kids are 5 and 2.5. And so what I've been able to do is see the sort of the manifestation of this, right? My daughter, my oldest, who's going into kindergarten, who is prepared, not because of her father, certainly, has all of the things that you would say a child could have. We're very lucky to have, we own our house. My wife's very highly educated and has bad taste in men. Both of our parents are around. We've got an incredible network to lean on, right? We've got all 4 grandparents, right? And so we have all of these things that prepare her to go into that school ready to roll. She will go to school with kids who didn't eat breakfast that day. She will go to school with kids whose houses were shot at the night before. And they will be expected to learn the same, at the same rate, with very similar in-school resources, right? That fundamentally seems like an unfair proposition to me, right? So what we are building is around this theory that we as a community, right, in a at best insecure and unpredictable and at worst dangerous legislative environment, we have to build this ourselves, right? We have to be the people who can support our own. We have to be the folks who understand that every single kid, no matter where you come from, what you look like, what your zip code is, should have the opportunity to go to school, to learn to read, and to have a clear pathway for opportunity. So that's the business that we're in, right? We're in the business of education, but we're in the business of education as a social issue and making sure we're able to bolster all of these different dimensions for our kids and families here in Charlottesville. There's a lot more to that, and there's a lot that goes around that. I'll be around afterwards, and I know this certainly isn't my show, and Tori's cooler than me, but I appreciate your time. I thank you guys again for having me, and I look forward to working together. Thanks.
Thank you, Price. In addition to giving online, if you would like to make a donation with cash or check, please use the social action collection envelopes here in the sanctuary and place them in the collection plate. Please make checks out to the UU congregation of Charlottesville and write social action collection in the memo line. We also invite you to generously support the ministries and mission of UUCville. Through your pledges and the weekly Sunday morning offering, together our financial gifts support our congregation and enable us to put love into action. This is our shared ministry. During the music that follows, you can offer your financial support by using the text address or going to our website. You may place cash or checks in the collection plates as they are passed. Now dedicate all of the many gifts we share with one another by saying, "We accept your gifts with gratitude. May we use them wisely for the highest good."
Our reading this morning is a beautiful poem and a dream by the Unitarian Universalist colleague of mine, the Reverend Kate Lohr, used with her permission, entitled Our Way to the Water. Her dream was that she was not a singular turtle, but an entire clutch of sea turtle hatchlings rushing to the sea. This poem resonates with me so deeply because of the times we are in now, the times we've always been in, the times we will be in the future. So here it goes. We do not remember the egg. We don't remember the dark. We only know the trembling, the cracking, the sudden space where breath begins. We are born not one, but many. Each of us a flicker, a soul stitched to salt and sand. A question the sea has already answered. There is no sermon in the dunes, no angel with a map. Only the deep yes, burning behind our ribs, fulfilling and pulling us toward the sound of light. We do not walk, we scramble, ungraceful prophets in a world of footprints, soft enough to be swallowed, brave enough to be seen. The birds circle, the waves thunder. The night does not wait for us to be ready. Still, we go. We go because something sacred called us into being and will not leave us half-born. We go because the ocean is not just water. It is memory. It is mercy. It is the home before the home. And we go together. Even in our aloneness, we belong to each other. And if we are caught, may it be with our faces turned toward what gives life. If we survive, may we carry the salt in our blood like a psalm. We are the many, and the tide is our God. Let it lift us. Let it carry us in. Reflect on the words of Thoreau and Lore. Can you conjure up an image inside yourself like these sea turtles? Their slow development inside that tiny shell. They're waiting to come alive. For many of us humans, every day now feels like awakening to the ever-changing environment and learning how to respond anew to whatever yesterday's news foretold and today's now becomes. Thoreau's journal about turtles speaks to their individual development. Lore's poem speaks about the collective, the community, the clutch of hatchlings sprawled out across the shore, heading towards their ancestral home. We humans also spent months and months inside the womb of darkness and nurture till we took our first breath, that same deep yes calls to us long afterwards if we listen. And through our lives, like them, we also take our first forays, ever new, stumbling, awkward, ungraceful prophets in a world of footprints, soft enough to be swallowed, brave enough to be seen. And I believe with all my heart that something sacred called us into being and will not let us be half-born. We may have different language for the sacred, for that yearning that pushes and pulls us forward, sometimes backwards, sometimes forwards, back again, forward in a cycle, reluctantly or with eagerness, together. There is power and there is beauty in that community of souls stretching together. We have the blessed freedom of our individual understandings that propel us in myriad different directions. Yet it is that joyous, difficult journey that we each take, that we take together, that heads us forward, even in the midst of turbulent times. We remember Brian Stevenson, his admonition to the privileged to be proximate. And we think of proximity with the unhoused, the hungry, the powerless, with the children, in real relationships with them. Through interfaith work with Impact, the Poor People's Campaign, and the Charlottesville Clergy Collective, as well as our partnerships with City of Promise, with Sembraeris, and so many others, we all go together. We all go together. Those of us involved with Impact have deepened relationships with one another through our mutual commitment to justice. Through the sacred conversations we have together, we start learning about what means the most to each of us. It's not all about showing up at that one Nehemiah action. It's about holding folks accountable that have power. We hear the stories of joy, of challenge, of hesitation, and unwavering commitment to ourselves, to others, to justice. These stories pull us forward as we learn about one another and what is central to our whole lives. Through Impact events this year, we've heard from a woman kicked out of her affordable apartment to make way for more, I emphasize the word more, luxury apartments. She's not just an amorphous face to me. I've given her a ride. I've been with her. I've heard her story. I've heard her lament about where she will go next because of this happening. So she becomes a traveler turned towards what gives life. At the Nehemiah action that many of you were at, another mother and adult daughter acted out their story of trying to get to appointments, trying to get to work. Their struggle to get there on time because of the delayed mass transit, the public transit system. They too are people we see regularly. We journey with them. They are at every single city council meeting I've seen. We've gotten to know other people from different faiths. They are also fellow seekers and experienced travelers on the tides of life. Meeting with Charlottesville city councilors, the Albemarle Board of Supervisors, and the Region 10 board, we find out that they are not just power brokers, but they are people who are engaged and interested in making a better place for our area. But we also hold them accountable because they do have power, because we are committed to the social justice vision of a world more fair and more just. Would you consider becoming part of Impact at the fall meetings, the house meetings that we have, if you're able? And then there's the Poor People's Campaign. We gathered there, 7 of us from the Charlottesville area on June 2nd from the Charlottesville Clergy Collective. We traveled to DC for a Monday, a Moral Monday gathering about this budget bill that just was signed into law. We heard about people living with disabilities that have a good life at home, supported by family, friends, and resources to live independently. And this law now may jeopardize that and send them to a nursing home for the rest of their life at such a young age. A mother who talked about her child who has a life-threatening rare disease, that if she goes without Medicaid, that child will likely die. For most of June, the Poor People's Campaign lifted up this bill before it became law. We talked about this budget that would cut Medicaid services, cut SNAP assistance, cut environmental solutions, and affect immigrants in inhumane ways, my friends. I want to stress that. You all have seen the news. You know, the people that have been rounded up, the people that have been sent to secret places where their lawyers, where their family cannot get in touch with them, don't even know where they are. And then there are people who signed this bill, who applauded it. They lift up Alcatraz, alligator Alcatraz, putting people, once again, this has happened before, in cages where they're crowded. They aren't given enough to eat. And this is what is touted from this bill. This is what is lifted up as being such a big, beautiful, lovely bill that we all should be happy about. You know, political figures encourage division sometimes that pull us apart even more. Some of you on Social Security may have gotten the email that I received yesterday from the Social Security Administration. Now, usually when I get something from the Social Security Administration, it is telling me how much I have put in to Social Security or how much I will have in benefits. But this email was vastly different because it applauded once again this big, beautiful bill that President Trump signed into law. This terrible bill that will give billions to the wealthiest among us and take away needed care, health insurance, things that sustain life and keep us healthy as a society. So that was divisive public political propaganda that I saw. And I felt both sad and angry about it. Sad that this is the low bar to which we have come. Sad, but also angry that this one message could convey such deception about this country's callous attitude towards those who need governmental support the most. It's not the billionaires, it's not the large corporations. And I remind you what I said a little earlier. We are on a journey together. We must not lose sight of what draws us together in this ocean of life that we are all born into. But June also brought some real joy. Part of that joy was being with people who participated in the annual Unitarian Universalist General Assembly in Baltimore, Maryland. Can you raise your hand if you went to that? I know there are 7 of us and not all of us are here. it was powerful for me to see so many people I had known for decades and worked and prayed with and just been in communion with for so long. And it was also powerful to be in the service of the living tradition as a minister completing service, along with so many other religious professionals like our own, the Reverend Kathleen Rowlands. What a joy that was. What a rite of passage that we need to mark those kind of things. And that rite of passage reminded me of a water ceremony that Reverend Wayne Arneson, our former minister, conducted before I went to seminary. It was a water ceremony where people brought in seashells and river stones, and I've carried them with me to each and every ministry I've ever been a part of. I've carried you all with me through each of those, because it was out of this congregation that I received my calling to the Unitarian Universalist ministry. It's still a reminder of what Laura describes as we go together. Even in our aloneness, we belong to each other. I believe those bonds are ones we share no matter how short or long our interactions are. There's another joy that happened at General Assembly, and that was all the bold, audacious speakers that we had, like the law and African studies professor, Gloria J. Brown Marshall, and Reverend Dr. Liz Theoharis, who is the executive director of Kairos Center for Religion and also co-chair of the Poor People's Campaign. They reminded us that to love is protest. To love is protest. And they also echoed Frederick Douglass's words, his belief that power concedes nothing without a demand. And he also said the price of liberty is eternal vigilance. If you miss General Assembly, the books by these justice warriors, A Protest History of the United States, and you only get what you're organized to take. Those two books are on sale at the uua.org by going online. And I have a copy and you can look through them. They're available through our own Beacon Press books. There's one more thing there's two more things I want to say about General Assembly. One is that we had Imara Jones gave the Ware lecture. And Imara Jones connected the dots from the anti-trans propaganda that has been galvanized and manipulated to smooth the way to authoritarianism. Can't say that, to authoritarianism. There we go. That was quite some lecture if you get the opportunity to hear it. The final thing about General Assembly, we celebrated the 25th anniversary of our whole lives, a curriculum created jointly by Unitarian Universalist and the United Church of Christ. Now that's the way that denominations should come together, one of the ways. And then the 75th anniversary of LREDA, the Liberal Religious Educators Association, 75 years, both of them historic benchmarks from religious education. My friends, I offer you these memories of the journey on our way to water. We're all part of something so vast, so deep. Our journeys may seem solitary, too much to bear sometimes. And I know we have to cut off the news. We have to take care of ourselves, put ourselves first. But also think of those turtles hurtling towards the water by some instinct inside of them. And how, at least at first, they all go together. Feelings of chaos and pain and disequilibrium, anger and sorrow may come, probably will come. But I believe in using feelings to help us remember the unfathomable sacred trust that we have, that we carry, a trust we carry from our ancestors. We carry it in our bodies, in our stories that we share with one another. We carry it in our will to make a more compassionate, just, and inclusive world. I lift up the words of Christian scholar and theologian Walter Brueggemann, who died early in June. This is from his book, The Prophetic Imagination. It is the vocation of the prophet to keep alive the ministry of imagination, to keep on conjuring and proposing future alternatives to the single one the King wants to urge us as the only thinkable one. Let me say that again. Keep alive the ministry of imagination to keep on conjuring and proposing future alternatives to the single one the King wants to urge as the only thinkable one. I trust that you can hear the prophet's echo calling out to us today as well. As with these baby sea turtles, it is that call towards the waters of life that propels us forward to live, not as half-born solo swimmers, but as a clutch, as a community, a blessed community of hatchlings swimming, involved together. We are the many, and the tide is our God. Let it lift us, let it carry us in. Amen, Amen, Ashe, Shalom, peace. So be it. So now we're going to sing another new thing, something from the online hymnal that just got released during General Assembly. And our wonderful music director, Scott DeVoe, will teach it to us. It's called Joy in the Morning. Don't we want some of that? Yes. Thank you.
Simple hymn. Let's try to sing it. We'll find joy in the morning. Joy in the morning. Joy in the morning. In the morning we'll find joy.
Tori, will you extinguish our chalice? Here are my words to you, my friends. We come full circle to the beginning, developing in our human shells, poking our heads out to see the world and what it offers and what it costs. Let the tides run deep within us. Let them carry us on currents to unknown places where we enliven the visions of the ancestors, recognize the limitless possibility of the sacred to speak in us again and again and again. May this day be the start of a new beginning, an instinctual drive that reminds us how intertwined our lives already are and what it means to be in community, hatchlings, together. Amen, and blessed be.